Assalamu alaikum. A very good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on when you are watching this video. Today I am going to make a short video on how to connect to your EC2 instance using AWS SSM Systems Manager through port forwarding. This example is gonna be connecting to a Windows server. So before I show that, let's very briefly talk about this diagram here. So usually if you have an EC2 instance, if it's in a subnet, a private subnet with no public IP, the only way for you to connect to it would be if it's a Linux server, you SSH into it, but it's gonna need a public IP. And similarly, if it's a Windows server, you would RDP to the public IP. If it's a private subnet, then you're gonna have another server which is in a public subnet acting as the bastion host. So you connect to the bastion host and you've set certain configurations to allow only uh, connections from this bastion host into this private EC2 instance or server. That can be a bit tricky to set the NACLs, the network access, to allow which port, to allow which IP, and making sure that the bastion host can connect in a public subnet, can connect to the server in a private subnet, while maintaining, you know, uh, because you don't want to put this server in a public subnet, as that would leave your server accessible through the public internet to anyone. So the third way, or I'm pretty sure there are many other ways, but this is one of the other ways that is secured, in which you connect to AWS through the public internet, and AWS SSM would connect to your private server. So there's no need for public IPs. Now, moving forward, there are certain prerequisites. For example, of course, you're gonna need to already have an EC2 instance running, and you're also gonna need the roles attached or the permissions attached to that EC2 instance. So by default, AWS SSM doesn't have permission to perform actions on your instances. You grant access by using an IAM instance profile. All right. I will leave this link in the description so you can try it out. And the other prerequisite is to have the Session Manager plugin installed. Also, I will leave this link. And you would also need to have AWS CLI installed and have already configured your credentials, in which you can refer to my previous video. Now, let's go directly into this command. So it's pretty simple. AWS SSM start session --target instance ID document name. In this case, you will supply the AWS start port forwarding session to give this permission of port forwarding. Parameters, port number on that server, local port number on your local PC, region name, and profile. So in my case, I have a few EC2 instances already running. I'm going to specifically connect to this instance ID. So let me replace the values here. and it is in the AP Southeast 1 region. The profile name is dev. Again, for the profile, you can check my previous video to understand better. So I'm going to copy this command into the terminal. And as you see, it started a session on port 9001 and it's waiting for connections. So what I need to do is, since it's a Windows server, I need to RDP into that. Let me quickly find RDP, remote desktop connection. You type localhost 9001, connect. My username of this EC2 instance is administrator. You would have known what is your username and password during provisioning of that server. And boom, that's that. I'm already in the server and I do not have any public IPs, nor is it situated in a public subnet. All connection was port forwarded through AWS SSM or AWS Systems Manager. That is all from me. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum.